Hello and welcome to Touch the Plane Tarot. I have a special reading for you today. Here, and I'm filming this the beginning of April in 2026, around the end of March, specifically around March 28th, I experienced a shift in the energy, I want to say the energy of reality. It was something that I couldn't quite pinpoint exactly what I was feeling, but I felt a fundamental shift. I would be very interested to know if my viewers have experienced something similar to this recently, and maybe indeed, of course, this is a timeless reading. You may be having experienced a shift a year from now or 2 years from now, and you stumble upon this reading. It's still going to be relevant for when you find it. I wanted to take a look at what that shift means, and once we've experienced that shift, whether it's something physical that happened in your environment or in your life, or it was something you perceived energetically, a shift in emotion, a shift in energy, something just felt a little different, and some might refer to this phenomenon as a timeline shift. So, however we define the shift that we have perceived, let's dive into what happens next, what has shifted and what that means for us, and if that shift has opened up new possibilities on our life path. I was pulling some cards to find some direction for where this reading was going to go, and this card came out, which felt really significant for the messages that all of the groups are going to hear today. This is the Fulfillment of Wishes card. That's kind of self-explanatory. Is there something that has happened within this shift that will leave room or open up space for a wish to be fulfilled? So with that in mind, let's find out what all this means for you. And there are 3 groups to choose from today. So group number 1, you have the Red Garden, and that is with the Bloodstone. Group number 2, you have Mermaid's Love, and that is with the Smokey Quartz point. And group number 3, you have Home in the Sky and House of Flowers, and that is paired with the Prehnite cluster. So, as always, take your time selecting. It's possible there could be more than one message meant for you to hear today. So if you're drawn to more than one group, follow your intuition, follow your instinct on that. And with all tarot readings, with mine, with anyone's, that are intended for a group of people and not specifically an individual reading, there may be messages that are specifically for you. There may be messages that are for everyone in the group, and there may be specific messages that come through that are only for 1 or 2 people, and that is okay. It's a great time to practice our intuition, to tune in to the reading and what feels right. If something is brought up in a reading that doesn't quite fit, that's okay. That doesn't mean the reading's not for you. It means that 5% of the reading is not for you, but the rest of it might be. And I also want to remind everybody, no tarot reading is ever going to tell you what to do, right? The tarot reading is to help you see more clearly, to help you look at things from a point of view that you might not have been able to see it before, to give you a reading of the energy and what possibilities might lie ahead. And by no means should anyone ever make a decision based on something heard in a reading. It's for contemplation, it's for reflection, and it's a chance to get to know ourselves a little bit better. So with that said, please take your time. I'm going to leave the camera rolling for a few moments to tune in with the group or groups that you feel most drawn to, and I look forward to seeing you in your readings. Hello and welcome, group number 1. You have Red Garden with the Bloodstone crystal. So let's take, what a beautiful card to get. We're here at the beginning of spring. What a very appropriate sort of color scheme with everything starting to bloom. Let's find out more information for you. Now that the shift has occurred, I really felt that one. What was that? Oh, beautiful hope. Now that the shift has occurred, what now? New beginnings and mental conflict. You weren't shuffled very well before we started with this deck. Let's give it a good shuffle. We have more information for group number 1. After the shift, what did it mean and what now? Pull some tarot cards. Can we get more clarity? Whoa. Two more. There's actually one back here. Where are you? This one. Okay. Okay, this message is coming through pretty clear for me. There's something significant about this particular season of spring now, or spring whenever you find this reading, that will be when this shift happens for you, if it hasn't already happened. It's bringing new beginnings and hope. There has been something really pinning you down, some energy that's weighed very heavily on you. Yet this shift has begun to evolve you, and the way in which you're changing is this. There's clarity. This Queen of Swords cuts through energy with this clarity. Swords are about communication. clear communication. And I see that here in this card. So if you look, so the energy that I get off of this card is there's an awareness of nature, appreciation for it, but awareness of it, and awareness in meaning that you're aware that you are part of nature. So the figure here doesn't seem to just be walking through nature. The bird interprets this figure as part of the landscape, a place that it can just perch, as though the shoulder is a branch. There's an awareness and a grounding of you and your true self. The shift was an awareness and a mental clarity about who you are, and what you need to feel grounded. This, I don't know if the vibrancy of this teal blue color is coming through on the camera or not. There's this glow coming from the ground here. That blue is very indicative of throat chakra and of communication. That's what we have. The blue, one of the blue cards for throat chakra, and you see that same teal blue color. There's a so we're going to talk a little bit about chakra color for a minute. You know, you have all this green that's sort of blending with the blue, and you kind of see that in both of these cards. You see a lot of green here. You've got blue, you have a lot of blue mixing with green throughout this reading, and it's the heart is supportive of this, the heart chakra being green, the throat chakra, with the chakra of communication being blue. There's this supportive structure where that green, that heart nature is supporting your clear communication. And your communication, this clarity you have gained, your just wow, the synchronicities here are really wild. This clarity of communication is something upon which you can stand. It is the ground on which you can start to move forward. You have the blue and green color with the figure walking on it here. The figure here is walking on a blue with sort of a green energy. The figure here walking literally on the earth. Celestial power. It's like this newfound clarity of communication and clarity of truth, and your ability to communicate those truths in a way that frees you from the burdens of who you thought you were or who you thought you were supposed to be. That's all melting away, and now you are able to stand and move forward on this stable ground of communication. Wow, this is really big for you, Group 1. What an empowering message that's coming through. So you're going to be, look at this, the synchronicities, the bird and the bird. There's a bird. What is the bird about? The birds sing, right? Birds bring song, bring beauty to our world with vocalization and with sound, and I think that's reinforcing the throat chakra being important. I think that means that it is important for you to speak your truth. Queen of Swords energy, she speaks her truth. The genders in the tarot are not everyone has masculine and feminine energy, so don't think that if you're a male that the Queen of Swords energy doesn't apply to you. It can, and it does. So this is about having a newfound strength from that was the shift. Being able to feel confident in this inner truth and the shame of what if who you thought you were supposed to be is not relevant anymore. It's just simply gone, and you have the strength to become this new version of you. And that's something you can wear with confidence. With an inner calm and with confidence. Don't think the bird would land on a figure that's insecure. The bird lands there because it knows it's safe to land there. There's a security in this structure of clear communication for you. So within this newfound ability to make steps forward, something that you didn't think that you could have, something really precious to you, something, actually going back into here, something that's in that chest and you thought that you couldn't access whatever is in that chest, something you thought wouldn't ever be available to you in your lifetime. Now there is space for that to come in. And when that wish does come through for you, you're now in this stable state to receive that gift. It's like a quiet calm of not necessarily knowing all of the next steps, but you know that if you take a step forward, you won't fall. And even if that next step is not something that you expect, you're going to be able to have the confidence that you can choose to shift. It's about you know, the figure, well, these two figures seem to be moving forward at a slow, steady pace. Yes, the celestial power is just sort of leaping ahead. Just wanted to double check. In the guidebook it says intuition, understand the mechanisms of the various realities. Understand the mechanism. Oh, I see. Okay, here's the thing. I described this scenario where you're now able to stand on a strong foundation of clear communication and truth. Where you had been is you had been trying to run forward with it, pushing it forward. That's part of the energy shift, is you're not, it's with you and it's what you stand on. It isn't what you have to push forward. That's the beauty here of the shift, is now this thing that was this heavy thing for you to carry because you hadn't embodied the clear communication energy yet. That's the shift, that you can now stand on that and you can move forward with that. They're not carrying this big thing, right? She's got a stick. I mean, I think there's like a flower stem here. These are light, stabilizing things that you might want to carry forward with you. And you can move forward with this confident calm and without the burden of carrying who you want to be. You are now this person who has a steady, stable path on which to walk. So let's see if we can find, do we have any more clarification for group number 1? I think it was this one. Again, we have the green and the blue creating this stable structure, and you may indeed, so these things that used to consume you here, you're now on this higher, more stable ground, right? Fighting the temptation to the Obi-Wan Kenobi quote that he has the higher ground, right? But there's truth here, because the ground on which you now stand is stable. And those things that used to seem like such problems, you now have a different view of those problems. Your view has shifted to where the problems are not as they didn't go away altogether, but they're manageable. They're smaller problems. They're less dangerous problems because you see them differently. You have this stable ground. Do you have any more messages for group number 1? Oh, the Six of Pentacles. Oh, because you have this shifted view, it allows you to be in a safer position to share with others. When sharing with others might have felt scary before, it might have spread you too thin, maybe now, in this more balanced energy, it's freeing you to be more generous. This isn't necessarily money or food. This could be time. This could be more of a compassion, because you're in this higher ground and things, and you can have a more balanced view. The scales here, balanced view of when problems come up. You actually, that frees you to have more compassion for others. When someone comes to you and says, oh my gosh, this thing happened, whatever it is, the old you might have gotten scared by that, or judged them, or been annoyed with how small you think that problem they're having is because you have bigger problems. You're not at that place anymore. You're going to be able to have compassion to listen to what's going on with that person. And sometimes that's the best thing you can give, right? It's not so, oh, hey, I'll help you pay for that thing. Oh, maybe what that person really needs is someone to listen to what's going on, to help them feel not alone. And because you're on that more stable ground, you can be a much better, and you can receive, and you can hear that something, someone else, what they're going through, and it doesn't trigger you because you're at that place where you're stable. And listening to someone else's story of, you know, something like, oh, maybe somebody rear-ended them and now they don't have the money to get their car fixed or something like that. That's not going to trigger you in this new energy. You're going to be able to let that person share that story with you, and it isn't going to pull your energy down. You can just hold space for that person. That's a lovely, comforting place to be when you're comfortable in your own energy and you're not going to get thrown off by others. That's not to say that stuff isn't going to come up, but you're going to be at a much better place to be able to negotiate all of those things that come up, and you don't have to be weighed down by them. Group number 1, this is your reading. I hope you found this helpful for you whenever you have come across this energy shift. Thank you for being with me today, and I hope to see you back for another reading. Bye. Hello and welcome. Group number 2. You chose the card Mermaid's Love with the Smokey Quartz. So let's get more information for you about this energy shift. The shift that you experienced, what it means, and suffering in silence. Wow. What it means and what now. Which one is it? I think it's this one. We have more information for group number 2. There it is, Strength. Another one of these. More information for group 2 on this energy shift and what now. That is, I shuffle between groups and I dropped that one as I was shuffling for you, so I guess it definitely needed to be seen for your group today. Let's pull some tarot cards. Can we get more clarity on what this energy shift meant for group number 2 and what now? Page of Wands. Maybe this one had to be shown. 7 of Wands. Do we need any more messages for group number 2? Let's get one more, and we can always pull clarifiers if we need to, but this image, this is painting a very clear picture for me. So group number 2, this is undeniably a love reading. And if that's not what you're here for, feel free to check another group. Have you been in this energy of suffering in silence, and that you are in a knowing you're gaining the clarity that you don't need to be suffering in silence, that there is someone out there for you. Again, if this message isn't relevant for you, you can go ahead and you find a different reading, but I would challenge you, if this is triggering for you, if this has struck a chord and you're saying, no, that's not me, love's not possible for me, this is indeed your reading. And I get the sense that you maybe have an inkling of who it is, or maybe you just have a feeling that there's someone energetically out there, and you can feel their energy calling to you, but you don't actually know how to get to them. Let's look at this closer. To me, when I see the way this card has been colorized, it feels to me like they're in a fog, that they're in a dense mist, and somehow the mermaid can actually navigate above the surface of the water in the dense mist. And he has found this person from a very different place who is also able to navigate that mist, and they find each other. The smoky quartz, quartz is usually very clear. The smoky quartz, there's a sort of a translucent but hazy quality to it that I see when I look at this card. It feels like a magnetic draw. These two, this might even be a twin flame reading, if I'm being honest. These are two people who have different, but different. Why did I say different like that? I don't know. They have different energies, like the charge of a magnet. The positive and the negative, they are pulled to each other. These two are magnetically pulled to each other from very different worlds. This is your wish fulfillment. There's a clarity here. I believe that's what shifted for you. Whether you've fully come to terms with it or not is the knowledge that you don't have to suffer in silence. Up until this point, you've just decided you're not, maybe whatever your internal narrative is, whether you think you don't deserve to have a loving partner, if you think that if you've given up on that possibility of that person existing. Here's the shift, is in your heart that is open to you. That shift was important, because had you encountered this person prior to this shift in your energy, you may not have recognized that person. Now that your energy has shifted, at the point in which you come into awareness of this specific person, you're going to be able to recognize. And we're talking about a twin flame type of energy. That person is also, there's a mirroring going on here, also going through that same sort of shift that there's an ability to recognize. Where if you had crossed paths with this person in the past, you may have even been drawn to the person, but something wasn't quite lined up. Something was, there was an energy of there needs to be, how do I want to say this? Things happened in the timing in which they're supposed to. Okay, if you encountered this person briefly in the past, there could have been a little, for lack of a better term, a seed planted, but I don't mean a physical seed. I mean that sort of notion. I'm thinking of in the animal spirit deck, there is the card of the unstruck sound, the golden egg, the unstruck sound. That's an energetic that's an energy frequency, and maybe that bumping into that person struck that sound in both people, and you've had to, for whatever circumstances, go on, whatever your destinies, your life purposes are, have pulled you in different directions, pulled you in different directions. Now that frequency is coming back around, and it's like quantum physics, right? When you have particles that are separated, but they affect each other. I'm trying to think of the correct term for that. And that shows us that we're all connected in this beautiful web of a universe. You and that person are particles, and you're starting to vibrate more and more together, and that shift in you had to happen to reactivate this. So whether or not you've crossed paths with this person is someone who is energetically aligned with you, and that alignment is happening more and more every day. This is a really exciting energy, and I'm really hoping, group 2, that you're feeling this shift of you're already not suffering in silence, because on an energetic level there is another person in the astral realm who you're communicating with, your soul's communicating with, whether you realize it or not, in the 3D. So the shift has happened to allow this to this wish of yours to come to fruition. And I mean, this is self-explanatory. Celebration, this is like a receiving of something that you didn't think you could ever have. I wanted to double check meaning here, because that's puzzling, having seen it right before your reading and then it came out again. So this is in this deck, it's the card of spirituality, and this is think beyond every day. Okay, you may have to, this may be a reminder that you do have to continue functioning every day, even though you've had this energy shift and you know that this person is out there for you. You kind of have to have some patience. This high priest here has I wish it wasn't the high priest. I think it's more like a semantics. This is a person who is aware of the energy that's happening beyond his physical control, and is patient with that to unfold. But patient with the way that unfolds. It's like something I'm not seeing yet. Oh, okay. It's like a knowing that there's something out there, someone out there for you. There's the knowledge, but I don't know if I'm going to assume for a moment that the key is to open this book, and that book contains the knowledge of who this is and how to get to that person. And you're patiently waiting for the right time to unlock that book. You're in this spot where you're still a little bit processing emotions, and it takes strength to sit with that. I think it's okay to start to... I'm no expert in the law of attraction or manifestation, but perhaps there's an invitation here. You know, I think of the Four of Wands as like a meditative state. To connect with that energy that you're feeling from another person. To connect with how you might... What's the right word here? What it might feel like to have someone that gives you the comfort and security so that you're not suffering in silence, so that you're in their presence turning this to this. This is something that you could meditate on. Group 2, you are definitely meditating on other things, and that's totally fine. And on YouTube, we keep this, you know, YouTube friendly. So if you know what I mean, you know. And that's totally fine, because that's part of integrating that energy. That's part of taking those vibrating particles and they're being pulled closer and closer together, and this is part of that journey. You're going to continue to have self-doubt come in, intrusive thoughts, the what ifs, the insecurities, worrying about if the other people will judge you, more specifically your special person, if they would judge you for things. These are intrusive thoughts. If this is truly your special person, that's not something that you need to worry about. But keep strong when you are in a mental space where insecurities have come into your mind and are weighing down your energy. Acknowledge that and release it, and understand that you are in this energy shift and you don't need that anymore. And Six of Cups is really beautiful. This is a really tender energy. It's a really supportive energy. It's a caring energy. It feels safe. And that's the wish fulfillment that you have available to you because of this energetic shift you experienced. Wow, group 2, you have really been strong in your journey, and you're ready. This energy shift happened because you're ready for the next step. Let's see if we have any additional messages for group number 2. This was a very clear reading. Let's see if we have anything else that needs to come out. I think it's actually this one. 9 of Pentacles, how beautiful that is. There's a a feeling of inner calm with this card. You know, the bird isn't going to... Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Got a similar thing in group 1, oddly, where we had this card come out. There's the bird here, and there's also a bird here. The inner calm that comes along with this person entering your life, or at least for now, the energetics of that person entering your life, is a bird wouldn't come and sit on someone who's not a calm, stable place to be. So that's beautiful, group 2, if you are indeed in that energy. Okay, so you're... Don't worry about what... You keep doing you, the way you do things the way you feel like they should be done for you to move forward with each step. You're focusing on that every day, and you're experiencing what it's like to be in that energetic shift. And don't listen to... There's gonna be people... Why am I speaking backward today? I don't know. People might observe you and wonder what in the hell you're doing. Why are they different? What's different about them? Why aren't they doing the things they used to do? Why are they not going to the pub? Why are they not... Why don't I see them anymore? Don't worry about that. That's this kind of stuff. You're working on you. You're carving yourself into this masterpiece, and that I'm referring to the architectural, sculptural masterpiece that this person is crafting. You are that masterpiece. You're continuing to work on you as a piece of art, and you don't have to be a completed piece of art to come into union with this special person. In fact, to continue to develop into who you're meant to be, that union could be a catalyst for continuing your own soul's development. What other people... I always think it's weird, the really scornful look on this person's face. It's like, what the hell are you doing? Don't worry about that. That they don't matter. Their opinion doesn't matter. You're going to focus on you, right? And you're going to focus on that energy that you're now feeling coming in after this shift. Group 2, I wish you the best in your journey toward finding that special person. This was a beautiful reading. Thank you for being part of this. I'm speaking backward today, like Yoda. Thank you for part of this being. I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe I need to eat lunch. Anyway, thank you for being here, letting me be a part of this reading for you. And I hope to see you back for another reading. Bye. Hello and welcome to Touch the Plane Tarot. Group number 3, you chose card number 41, Home in the Sky. And card number 36, House of Flowers. Very interesting that we have houses in both of those cards, but we're going to wait until we draw more cards to unpack that. You also chose the wonderful Prehnite cluster. So let's find out more information. Now that group 3 has experienced a shift, or is about to experience the shift, what is that about and what now? Material and spiritual prosperity. harmony. Do we have more information for group number 2? What is this shift about, and what now? I'm sorry, did I say group number 2? I apologize, group number 3. What is this shift about, and what now? The High Priest came out for group number 2. Let's shift these. What does group number 3 need to know about this shift? And what now? Let's shuffle that again. Group 3 needs to know about the shift, and what now? Oops. It's just this one, isn't it? Okay, group 2, let's start with this card actually, the material and spiritual prosperity. So the guidebook says, this is very interesting when we're talking about this energy shift. This card represents a peaceful, tranquil time when problems seem to actually disappear. Sit with that for a second while we take a look at this card. Home in the sky. Birds migrate. Birds are quite a theme in this whole reading, by the way. Each group has had something come up with birds. Birds typically migrate. They're flying with great movement from one place to the other, yet in this card, they're taking their home with them, and they're in this, you know, they're suspended in the sky, only having the movement of what the wind will push them, which is very different from the way birds would typically move from point A to point B. So this is reflective to me when I, read about this. This is like this feels like a pause, a slowing down of the normal movement of life. This could be the energy shift that you felt. It's a slowing down, it's a pause. But it's a thoughtful pause. It's a reflective pause. It's an opportunity, I believe, for reevaluating. The Harmony card is compared to the Lovers in a traditional tarot pack. And that is, it can mean, obviously, romantic love. It can also signify a choice. there's something about your physical environment where we have very physical things here. We have homes, we have this very permanent, the sort of permanency. This is like we have structures here is what I'm saying. Physical structures. So there's something here about reflecting on what home means to you. The home that the birds are in this card is very gray, both inside and out. We see in the windows, we just see darkness or gray curtains. There isn't a vibrant feeling to these structures themselves. This feels very standard. Not particularly lively. I didn't notice, it's so dark and faint. It's barely perceivable, but there is like the skyline of like a city or like a castle in a city. And coming from, places, industrial towns, right? The older structures are very, very dark until they're cleaned because they have accumulated layers of soot, of pollution from steel mills and things like that. So there's a darkness to the city here in the background, and a dark cast to these homes as though they've accumulated years of city grime. And it's like the birds are trying to get to this place where that grime that they never felt at home or at harmony with their home, and they're looking for this home, which is vibrant outside, but because of this environment shift, it's also vibrant inside. The figure here is looking out onto this beautifully landscaped place that feels great to be in. Wouldn't it just be amazing to walk around this garden path? Wouldn't it be amazing to exist within this card? The Ten of Pentacles has the same sort of vibe, and so does the Four of Wands. These are a stark contrast to the darkness here. I feel that the message that we're getting from Harmony, I get a patience with this card. A patience of being willing to wait to unlock and see what's actually in this next chapter. I feel like that's what we're experiencing here with your energetic shift, is things have slowed down, like they're moving in slow motion, and you're one of these beautiful birds that's opening their eyes and looking around and saying, okay, what do I want my home to be? I want to feel in harmony with my home, with my environment, with my family, with the people around me in my community, with my partner. And right now, I feel disconnected. I feel out of harmony. So in your wisdom, this energy, you have ushered in this energy shift of pause and of reevaluating. And for you, group 3, I think this reevaluating is you defining, remember this fulfillment of wishes card that came out for all of the groups. You're in this process of redefining what your wish is. And that doesn't just, that's not necessarily an instantaneous thing, right? You're allowing yourself the freedom to imagine this, to imagine what it would be to look out on what you feel is your castle. And it's not about that it's going to be this huge fountain and, you know, landscape that takes a whole team to maintenance. It's about how it makes you feel. Does your environment feel like it has life to it and that it's part of your life? So here it's like these flowers are actually part of the structure, right? It feels like you crave to have harmony with who you are, and feel like your environment is actually supporting who you are, is actually supporting your relationships. There's the Four of Wands is the 1111 card, and that is a gateway. You know, it's an opening, and you are not ready to step through that opening. You're in this beautiful liminal space of imagining the world beyond this gateway. Seven of Cups is about dreaming, and you have the freedom to dream about what this place can be for you. And there's truly if you can look past things that you thought were confining you or constricting you, there's an abundance of choices. And it's about having the freedom to evaluate those things. And this might be the first time you've really contemplated the environment in which you want to live. Do you want to be in sort of a more urban community? Or do you want this card feels very rural. Very in touch with nature. This feels spacious, but also intentionally crafted by man. It's architectural space, not being surrounded with woods and nature. With Justice here, I also feel like this is indicative of a choice. But I think the reading is inviting you to reflect more, to dream more, to fully explore what you want to create before making any choices. see if we can get any more advice for group 3. This, if you're in a mental space where reviewing these options starts to feel like these options are competing with each other, slow down even more. Slow down more. Take your time, because these things aren't competing with each other. You need to sit with your emotion on how you feel about each of these things. I invite you to meditate, or maybe even, oh, well, interesting, okay. I invite you to do some automatic writing on this. Try and focus in on the different choices and write about how it makes you feel, what those different choices or options might feel like. Ask yourself how you want to feel, what would feel like home to you. And if you're really clearing your mind, you might be surprised at what might reveal itself that you weren't seeing. Maybe you have feelings about it that you weren't really conscious of yet. Excuse me. Maybe with regard to a home, maybe there's something you thought you couldn't have, so you had pushed that longing for that thing down. Maybe you really desired to live in a rural setting, and your counterpart really didn't allow that to be an option. This isn't an exercise there's no place for other people's expectations or demands to be involved. This is an exercise for you and you alone. So if anytime you are reflecting on what is your idea of a home, and the words and thoughts and feelings of someone else start to creep in, you may need to not just ignore that, do more digging in that area. To search your feelings deeper. Because your feelings are your feelings, and they shouldn't be influenced by the expectations of somebody else. And it's only when you are able to settle this mental conflict, and you have more clear ideas, that you would be able to make a movement forward towards something else. You can't make a conscious different choice unless you know why you're making that choice. Really get to the depth of how these things feel to you without judgment, without trained and without that conditioning, things that you've been taught your whole life, things you've heard your whole life, things you've heard from your partners, from parents, from family members, from mentors, teachers. That really doesn't have any value when you are exploring how you feel about things. And it's only then when you have you're not really able to move forward, to make a step towards something different, unless you've really, really taken the time and this wonderful pause to get to some of the inner truths, so that you have a clear picture of what creates this feeling of harmony and abundance for you. I feel like I'd like to pull one more card for you before closing out the reading. Is there anything else that group 3 needs to know about the what now? I think it's this one. Okay, that's beautiful. This is really what I was saying. Once you've really gotten in tune with your feelings on choices that are available to you, that is the point which you can start to set goals and start to move toward those goals, start to voice your truth with regard to what will help you feel in a state of harmony. Because if you're especially if you're in a relationship and you feel like you're here, there isn't going to be harmony if that other person feels like they're already here. And there's no way you can start to change that for yourself. And by no means are you supposed to just stay where you are and feel like this. That is not at all what I'm saying. But to start this process of being in harmony in your home life and your relationships, there has to be some very deep study on your part. And it's hard work. And it's hard work to identify what might be the narrative of somebody else that's creeping into your mind, and to really hone in on what is your emotion. What are you drawn to without negative words of someone else popping into your head? Once you have studied that and you have chosen one of these, or maybe it's a combination, maybe you find, so there could be more than 7 things you're studying, but say you're studying, these represent the elements that you're studying. Maybe there's a combination of 2 or 3 of these that when combined just would make you feel like this. You owe it to yourself to communicate that, to go after that. And that's something that is a next step to figure out what that means for other people in your life. But you should not just stay quiet and pretend that you're here when you're really here. That is an injustice to you, and it's an injustice to that person who's living under the delusion that you're happy. It's an injustice to your other family members if you're trying to live under the delusion that you're happy and you're not. So Group 3, I'm wishing you the best. And sending you strength to dive into these deep emotions, because this is deep stuff we're talking about here. This is letting go of false narratives and letting go of things you might have changed your mind on. Maybe 10 years ago, you thought you wanted this. But something's different now, and it's okay. That's okay if that's your true feeling. That's okay if it's truly coming from your heart. I wanted to wish you best luck in communicating these truths, but I think that for you right now, group 3, you're more at a place of exploring these truths, and you're not ready to share them yet. Be the bird here that's observing your own emotion, observing options, letting yourself dream about what things would help you feel in harmony. Okay, group number 3, thank you for letting me be part of this reading for you today. Thank you for sticking with this message if you're still here, because this wasn't the easiest of messages, and I hope that you gained something valuable here, and I hope to see you in another reading. Bye.